What's up, my friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me whatever you'd like. 5-inch Friday, we're going to get some more work done on the Patreon 200 giveaway build. And we're going to hang out and do some Q&A. Hey, hold on. I want to look at, who knows what time Bot, is Bot scheduled to stream tonight? Let me see. I don't want to bleed over onto him if he's gonna... He doesn't have it scheduled. Let me go to his channel, and I'm just gonna leave his channel up, and so that if he does schedule it, I'll see it. So yeah, we'll go basically until Bot comes on. In the chat, Paul McDonald, FPV Trucker, Michael Blade, CH3FPV, White Fox, Paul McDonald again, Drone Pilot, James Vaughton, Steve-O43068, Torktastic, Double A, Shane Ridge, Nacho Quad. Nacho Quad. Nacho Quad, what's the story behind that name? I need to know it. That's great. Is it like a version of like Not Yo Quad? Or like, do you really like nachos? I gotta know. Tell us what the story is behind Nacho Quad as a YouTube name. Finn FPV is in the house. Maniac FPV, Espander, Mr. Huggy, Remy Tim, Brandon's Baked Beans. I'm never gonna not call you Brandon's Baked Beans, Brandon. I think I got everybody. If you want to talk directly to me, all you need to do is type my name. Just like in real life, you say someone's real name before you talk to them. You can put an @ in front of it, but you don't have to. You just got to spell it right, and then it'll light up in orange, and I know they'll know. I'll know that you're talking to me. Hey, this is my full-time job. If you would like to keep seeing me here on your computer, I need a little bit of help from everybody. Go over to CiottiFPV.com. and click some buttons, and Patreon helps me the most. You can join my Patreon for as little as $3 whole a month. That's only 10 cents a day. You know you got $3 a month. YouTube, Instagram, all the good stuff. Over on Etsy, I've got some stickers and random hardware that you might like. Over on Fiverr, I'm doing flight instruction, flight coaching. I'm also doing tuning and build planning so that you buy the right parts the first time instead of wasting hundreds of dollars on garbage parts and probably many hours of screaming and frustration. Give me a couple bucks, I'll give you 4+ years of knowledge in a half an hour or an hour-long session, and it'll save you hundreds of dollars. I can almost guarantee it. T-shirts over on Teespring. Nevin made me a little page over on FPV Exchange, which is amazing. I'm going to show you that in a second. And then a whole bunch of affiliate links. If you're ever doing an order for anything, or your family or friends or whatever, over on Amazon, FPV Cycle, Get FPV, Oh My God's website, FPV Crate, Banggood, and a few others. If you hit my affiliate link before you check out, I will get between 1% and 6% of the total shopping cart. It is free money. You can still use coupons, get free shipping, all that stuff. It is just a way for these shops to show their appreciation for the people that are pimping them out, which I'm one of. Here's what FPV Exchange looks like. This is my little shop over there. Here's a bunch of the stickers pulling from Etsy. Here's a bunch of the stuff that I'm selling within FPV Exchange, and then here's a couple of my Fiverr gigs. I just heard my phone go off, so let me make sure that it's not something super important. Looks like it's one of the local guys. I'm streaming. Where are you? Okay, cool. So yeah, there's some stuff. Support me if you want me to keep going. If not, I'll die a slow death. In the chat, FPV Trucker says, what's cracking? Michael Blade says, happy Friday. Paul McDonald says, I need this tonight. Your streams are so good for the soul. Thank you, Paul. Drone Pilot says, hey, how are you? Hope everybody, how is everyone else doing on this wonderful day? CH3 says, so cool when CiottiFPV is live. Thanks, man. James Vaughton says, what's happening? Drone Pilot says, I've been missing somehow the streams lately. Double A says hello there. Ciotti in chat. Nacho Quad says what's up. Maniac FPV says what's up. If I use a LUT, should I put my GoPro on flat color settings? Maniac, you should put your GoPro on flat color settings no matter what, because it's gonna it's basically, think of it this way, right? The brain in the GoPro is all within here, right? It's a very small little brain. So the less work that you ask this tiny little brain to do, the better. All right, so when you put your GoPro onto flat color settings, what it does is it captures everything as natural as possible, and it does not ask the tiny little dumb brain in this thing to make like contrast adjustments and brightness adjustments and saturation adjustments. It doesn't do any of that shit in here. It just records exactly what it sees flat. And then when you pull it into Premiere or DaVinci Resolve or even iMovie, they have much bigger brains, right? It's a computer. It's a big desktop computer. So yeah, it's got a bigger brain, and the software is far more sophisticated. So once you get it into there, that's when you want to make your saturation, contrast, brightness, etc. adjustments. All a LUT is a pre-cooked set of those adjustments. So LUTs they have very limited usage in my opinion, because they're created for the specific lighting from the specific camera, from the specific day, from the specific flying style, that whoever created the LUT, right, like that specific situation for that person is why that LUT was created. For us to then take that LUT and just drop it onto God knows what camera from God knows what day, who knows what colors, typically like it's going to be maybe a little bit better than flat, but 99.9% of the time you're going to be better off just going into the brightness adjustment and just sliding the slider around, see where it looks best. Go to the contrast adjustment, slide that around, see where it looks best. Go to your black point, your white point, your shadows, your highlights, your saturation, your clarity, and just move those sliders around. Be creative, move them around. It's going to be pretty straightforward. Like typically when you record on flat, you're then going to go in, you're going to add a bunch of, well, for you guys it'll be like this. You're going to add a bunch of contrast, you're going to add a bunch of saturation, you're going to add a bunch of clarity, you're going to add a bunch of vibrance, and yeah, you're going to add the right amount. The little brain in this thing and the LUT, they're adding some imaginary pre-cooked amount that's probably going to be either too much or too little. So yeah, LUTs in my opinion really don't make much sense, other than like to kind of maybe get your creative juices flowing. Like if you've got some footage that's maybe you recorded at the wrong time of day, or it's a little bit blown out, or it's a little bit too dark, and you want to try to kind of like hit it really hard with like a bunch of blue or a bunch of green or something like that to liven it up because like it wasn't recorded properly. Going through a list of LUTs can be kind of nice because it might get you going a little bit creatively to see what a bunch of those things look like in a hurry. But pretty much never are you going to find a LUT that's absolutely perfect. It's brightening it up the right amount. It's pushing just the right amount of contrast in. It's usually just going to make it look different, not necessarily better. And LUTs are kind of a thing that like they're kind of the hype train. So like it's to the point now where like most edits that I watch, I'm just like, oh, I know what LUT they used for that. Snooze, next. So it's yeah, of limited use. But what I do really like them for, again, is to kind of get the creative juices flowing. If the spot that I was flying didn't have a lot of nice colors or something like that, the LUTs, since they're pre-cooked, since they have a bunch of stuff just shoved into them, by just like quickly bouncing through each one, I might see one that's like really heavy on like yellow, for example, and that might like, oh wow, that looks pretty cool for this sort of boring scene. I won't keep that LUT on usually. I'll then just go in and do some color correction to add yellow. So yeah, they're good for creativity, but in my opinion, we shouldn't be like leaving them on there because, again, it's just a pre-cooked set of values, and the chances of that pre-cooked set of values being perfect for your footage is very, very, very low. So just start moving sliders around, man. You can't break it. Editing, all this editing software is non-destructive. So you can go in there and move all the sliders around, and then if you play it back and you hate it, you can just zero them right back out and try again. If you go through that little cycle a dozen, 2 dozen times, you'll really start to understand what each of those sliders does, so that the next time, like, what'll happen is you'll bring your footage in, you'll hit play on it, and you'll be like, all right, it needs more contrast, it needs more brightness, it needs a little, the white's pulled down, it needs a little bit less saturation, and you'll just like bang, 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 bang right down the line. It's really not all that hard. There's a ton of great info here on YouTube about color correction, color grading. Watch a beginner's, color grading, type into the search like color grading 101, beginner's color grading, stuff like that, and in 20-30 minutes you'll know pretty much as I do from like 15 years of doing it with shooting stills. Really good question, Maniac. Thanks for letting me talk about photography stuff. I always appreciate that. James Alton says he's scheduled for 9 p.m. from what I can see. Very cool. So we're going to go until, maybe until 9. We'll see. Double A says, did everybody see our buddy Aaron CiottiFPV get his tower dive on? Oh, it's on the TBS site. No shit. Oh. Black sheep. I thought they put Daniel's up. That's pretty cool if they put mine up. No shit. I know Daniel sent them mine. Where is it at? Shop, community, team, black sheep. Let me just do a regular old search for it. That'll find their, maybe it's on their Facebook page? Let's see. Where's it at, Double A? Thanks for the shout out. So this is Remy Tim's here. I think maybe Double A was referring to Remy Tim's. Here's my version of that over on the YouTube. I should have gotten it up quicker, but man, am I slow with doing edits, as you guys know by now. Can I get a shareable link from here? Of course I can't. Pause, pause, pause. Don't play the audio, please, YouTube. Thank you. There's a link to my version of that tandem dive. Go watch it, or else. Drone Pilot says, I flew my 10-inch up in the mountains yesterday. Man, the updrafts and downdrafts were a battle to fly. Thought I didn't have enough power to get home at one stage, then I found the updraft. Very cool. Is that why Gab still flies 5-inch long-range rigs? It kind of stands to reason that the smaller the props, the less effect the wind is going to have, which is interesting. CMYK says, why up? Double A says, I saw it on Facebook. Very cool. What am I doing? Where am I at? Alright. CMYK dropping the link to the link tree. What's up, Squints? How the hell are you, man? Alright, we're caught up. Let's do some goddamn work. What do you say? Did I shell all the things? I think I did. So this is the 200 patron giveaway build. I had a goal. I've got goals for 100, 200, and 500 patrons. At 100 patrons and 200 patrons, well, no, at 100 patrons, it was a build giveaway. At 200 patrons, it was a build and the t-shirt off my back and the shirt off my back. At 500 patrons, I think it's a full build. It might not be a full build. I don't know. It's up there. It's either a full build end, or it might just be I fly to you, or I pay for you to fly here to Atlanta, and we fly together for the weekend. And hang out and bullshit and maybe do a live stream and stuff like that. So lots of cool stuff going on there. 500 patrons is kind of a pipe dream, but you never know, man. You never know. It's good to have goals in life, right? So yeah, we got that going on, which is going to be pretty fun. I'm going to put these Am I gonna put these feet on? No, I'm not gonna put these feet on. Is there a camera in here? Did I already take the camera out? I did. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's just keep charging away on this build. I mean, hell, we might even be able to get this thing finished here tonight. So what do we got here? This is the ESC instruction manual. I don't really care too much about this. Yeah, alright, so I don't really need this. Let me put this away in the ESC box. So I'm doing this build mainly from parts that I've gotten out of the FPV crates, which is kind of cool. FPV Crate is a sponsor of mine. They send me the crates for free every month in exchange for unboxing videos and, you know, just kind of general like, hey, FPV Crate is killing it, people. Go check them out. Shout outs. So yeah, this is a cool build. I'm really interested to fly this because I'm really interested in these 2206.5s. I know what 2306s feel like. I know what 2306.5s feel like. I don't know what 2206.5s feel like. So I'm actually really looking forward to putting this up in the air when it's done and tuning it to then feel what these motors are like. Remy Tim just got home from flying in the mountains, did some sunrise flying, and then stayed around to do a hike. Took me 2.5 miles out, mountain peak flight. Nearly treed my quad up there. Jesus, that's scary. Vespula is in the house. Everybody say hi to Christian, the mastermind behind FPV Flight Dynamics, the only FPV book that exists, really. He says, did you get the Bardwell box yet? I assume so. I've got an unopened FPV Crate box here, and then like a week ago I got the other boxes. So yeah, I've got to do some videos for those awesome people. Stay tuned for that. Maybe this weekend I'll get that knocked out, and it'll be great. I'll do one and then I'll separate it by like a day or two and do the other one. Oh, look at this satisfying little foam circle. Oh, I don't know. Is that interesting to anybody else? Probably not. Okay, here we've got. Oh, okay. So let's get the battery lead on this fella. Turning on the Weller 1010 soldering iron. Sorry to anyone from Europe. I promised I wouldn't do that anymore. I lied. So I think what I'm gonna do is send this battery lead out here. That's gonna mount there. Battery cables can come up here. Battery strap. Let me look at where the battery strap sits on this. So the battery strap sits here, so that's perfect. This battery strap is gonna hold the XT60 that comes around the front here, and then the XT60 off the or the ESC that comes up here. So the XT60, we want it to be right about there. So let's measure this out a little bit. Those leads are pretty much right in the middle there. What's on what side? So the plus is going to be on the near side. So the plus is going to be shorter. And what that means is that we want, okay, so the plus is going to be on the near side. That's probably about right. So we want this to come up like that and be pretty much right there. And so that means these guys are going to be roughly like that. And, okay. So, right around here is where I want to cut this guy. I'm going to cut it a little bit long, and then we're going to kind of hold it up there and see how it looks. I'm going to probably cut this ground as well. Alright, so in theory these will be a little bit long for now, which is good. I just want to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Yeah, so those leads are going to be right back there. Alright, cool. This is more important than you'd think. Getting your battery leads really in a good spot so that they don't get chopped and so that they are as short as possible because they are heavy is kind of important. So if it's sitting right there, it's going to be roughly like that. This is going to be here, and then, oh yeah, I like that. I like that. I think I cut the negative lead just the right amount. So now we just need to figure out how to make an angle, how much of an angle I should say, are on these guys. So here's what I like to do next, is you kind of put this in here, roughly where you want it to be, and you just kind of figure your angle out. So I'm going to cut the positive lead down a little bit at a time here. Ooh, that went flying. And, oh, that's about perfect there. See what I'm doing here, boys and girls? Just trying to get this cut to the exact right amount. I'm actually going to cut a tiny little bit more off of this positive lead, and then it's going to be perfect. So if you cut these just right, it will oh man, that was a shower of little strands of wire. If you cut these just right, it'll give you a really nice angle, and then it'll just kind of fold up and out of the way, and you won't mangle, in theory, you won't mangle your battery lead nearly as often. The reason why you want to give some time, the other reason you want to give some time to your battery leads is because if it comes unplugged when you crash, it's a lot harder to find the quad, and that sucks. It sucks not being able to find your rig. So let's get this going. Flux pen on these big beefy pads here, and I'm going to try to leave these through holes open. Actually, I'm tempted to put the capacitor on there first. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to put the capacitor in there first. Positive is on the left. Positive is on the left. So let's cut this guy down a little bit here. I don't know if that's exactly how long I'm going to leave it, but maybe. So positive on the left, negative on the right. So if we drop that guy through there, yeah, that should be good. Maybe I'll put this on afterwards, because it is kind of in the way. That's not bad. I can bring the soldering tip in from this side. Yeah, no, this is fine. This is fine. This is going to be okay. Alright, so let me just sneak some solder in to get this thing... Well, no. Let's do it from the other side. Because from the other side I can see exactly where the ends of the posts are, and then when I do the top side, it'll just naturally kind of cook itself in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of solder on the tip of the iron here, and then I'm just going to transfer it to the pad. And it's going to, I'm almost like tack welding this capacitor on here in a weird way. There's one, and here's the other. So that capacitor is now held in on the bottom, which is totally fine. When I put the battery lead on top here, it's going to then flow around the top of the post, and it's probably going to dump down into the holes as well to really give that a good contact patch. So putting this on sideways, we're going to just take a quick look at how much shielding we need to remove. Looks like roughly that much should be plenty. I could have done this a little bit better. I could have done this at a little bit of an angle. That would have been cool. It's not too late. Yeah, it is too late. That's okay. This one I'll do at a little bit of an angle. Alright, just using the pliers to kind of notch the silicone. Being very, very careful not to cut through and nick any of the actual wires on the inside here. Alright, so the first thing, of course, we're going to do is tin the wires themselves, and then we're going to tin those pads, and then we're just going to combine them. So to tin the wires, you're going to put the soldering iron below. You're going to put a little bit of fresh solder on the tip of the iron. That's called tinning it. We're going to clean the tip of the iron first. And here we go. A little bit of solder on there to tin it. That's going to help speed up the heat transfer. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try to push the solder through the strands of wire. And you're only going to be able to push it through the strands of wire once you've got enough heat in here. So it kind of accomplishes two things. It lets you know when you've gotten it hot enough, and it also puts as much solder as possible in there so that when you then push the whole thing down, it's one big nice solder ball. You don't have any like voids in there or anything like that. And it makes a really, really strong solder joint. If you've ever had one of these battery leads rip off, you're not doing this correctly. This should be so strong that it'll rip the pads off rather than ripping this the lead itself off. My allergies are, of course, being total douchebags. Is allergies plural? Ah! In the chat, AA tags me and Remy. Freelo just says, I'm listening to you from my computer and watching on my phone. And yes, the foam donut hole is indeed interesting. Doc says, do you have any issues with this frame having the ESC flight control cable rubbing against the back camera post? No clue, Doc. I've never built this frame before, so you'll know what I know. David Tavares saying hi. Freelojo says, it's been 420 somewhere all day long, too. Freelojo getting high. Metal Dirtskin says, a few times I've flowed too much solder into one of those, and it wicks down far into the cable and makes it no longer bendable, which sucks for building. Yeah, really good point, Metal Dirtskin. You want to get in and get out. That's something that can definitely happen. So the way that you test that is after you're done here, you just kind of grab it and give it a little bend, and you'll see it always travels down a little bit. Like it's always going to travel down. The faster that you are tinning this, the less it's going to travel down the wire. So yeah, you want to get in and get out. This is pretty normal for it to travel down roughly that much. But yeah, the quicker you can, because what happens is, the longer you're on, the longer you have the tip of your soldering iron here, the more that heat is going to transfer down. And solder flows towards heat. So the more the heat travels down, the more the solder travels down. And if you sit on there for too long, it'll travel all the hell way down here. And that is not what you want. You want to get in there, get it tinned as quick as possible, and get out. And then when you put it on the pads, same kind of thing. You want to get in, get it knocked down, and get out of there. You want to, I mean, with pretty much everything in soldering, you want to sort of follow that rule of get in and get out. But yeah, really, really good point, Metal. I haven't talked about that in a while. I used to talk a lot more about soldering and tips and tricks and whatnot. I'm trying to talk more about it because I know that, for anybody new in the hobby or just people that don't do build after build after builds, And I mean, just in general, like soldering is difficult. Soldering is a tough skill. The fact that any of us can do it is pretty wild. It's not easy to learn. There's not a lot of resources about it on the internet. Knowing how to solder is kind of a big deal. We sort of take that for granted. I think we take a lot of stuff for granted that we know how to do. That's just kind of like expected or whatever. But yeah, it's good to kind of give ourselves credit sometimes. Like, we do shit that like electrical engineers do, you know? I mean, I'm definitely not saying that any of us are electrical engineers because of what we're building here, but you know, if you ever meet an electrical engineer, you can be like, hey, yo, I solder, and they'll be like, oh damn, probably not, but then you show them a flight video, and they'll be like, oh damn. That's what'll get them. That's what'll get them to say, oh damn. Getting some fresh solder here. My favorite little trick with a big long strand of solder is to take your favorite most round screwdriver, wrap it around the handle, and that's going to make you a nice little spool of self-standing solder. So you make it like that, you make yourself a little thing, and then it stands up on its own. And then you can just bring the tip of the soldering iron down, and yeah, all is right with the world. I've been getting caught up on some Marvel movies lately, since I got nothing but time. And I am making sure to practice self-care in this time of stress and uncertainty that I'm in. And it's been good. It's weird. I'm kind of glad that I slacked off. It's cool to watch them all. Well, the other cool thing is I'm watching them in chronological order, which has been kind of neat. Disney has like Disney Plus rather has a little section where it's like oh, I don't know what it says, but it says something. It allows you to watch them in chronological order, and I've been doing that. This story really fell apart. This story seemed much more interesting in my head. So I'm moving the work around a little bit. You want to always move the work to you. Don't move yourself around the work. So there we go. That's going to be a better spot for this to be in. I'm going to tin the tip of the soldering iron, put it down onto the wire, and now I'm just going to be patient. These are going to take a second. Got the soldering iron cranked up to 700. Patience. We got to wait for everything to flow together. It looks like that's happening now. Give it another split second and remove the heat. And there we go. That is a big, beautiful solder joint. And now we're going to do the same thing on the negative lead, but the negative lead is going to take a lot longer because all the ground pads are all connected to each other. So you got to be even more patient with the ground lead. And a lot of times you want to not use your fingers. A lot of times you want to use a pair of tweezers on this lead, but see, this lead is long enough where I can hold it back far enough where I'm not going to burn myself. So we're going to get it into position, get everything out of the way, tin the tip of the soldering iron again, and then we're just going to gently push the ground negative lead down, solder flowing. So the wire itself has flowed, but the pad itself is not flowing quite yet. So we're just going to be patient. That's where it's, and now there it goes. It sinks down a little bit more. And a little bit of an accident there with the iron. It kind of slipped off, but that's okay. There we go. Okay. And now we got that down nice and flat. And ah, shit. Should have been using tweezers. You know what? No, it's so the tip of the soldering iron kind of slipped, and I got solder all over the damn place. So I'm gonna come back in. It's still hot, so this is gonna be a little bit quicker here. And there we go. That's looking really nice. Give it another second just to be totally sure. And there we go. I want to add a little bit more solder here. I just want to make absolutely sure that this is not a cold solder joint. There we go. It was a cold solder joint. I'm glad I came back in. Much better. All right, and then I'm just going to clean up the outside of this real quick here. There we go. And I just want to melt this together here as well. Awesome. All right, cool. And let's see what that looks like on the bottom. Oh, it looks really, really good. Cool. And then we're going to take this capacitor and we're just going to push it away a little bit. And there we go. That's how you do that. Metal Durskin says, is that your first build with those Veloce motors? Do they seem any good? It is, and I'll let you know soon enough, Metal. Don Ladd saying, hey bro, hope you're good. I'm all right, Don. Hope you're well. Freeloader says, electrical engineer, computer programmer, and pilot, all in one we are. Yeah. And social media people, and internet personalities, and all the other things. Guillermo says, where's it, Tiago? That's true, I haven't seen Tiago in a while. Tiago, where are you? Freeloader says, I have issues removing my battery leads for my ESC after soldering it on. That's good, Freeloader. That means you're getting them on there good. WordFPV says, did you see the frame Chris Rosser just came out with? If so, what do you think looking at it? I saw that frame a couple months ago, actually. Chris has been working on it for a while. When we were talking a lot on Discord, he showed it to me and asked me for opinions and feedback and whatnot. It looks fantastic. The thing that I'm worried about, and this was the main piece of feedback that I gave him, which you can't really do anything about this, but when you put all those extra standoffs on there, they tend to get broken in crashes. So for like a freestyle frame that's gonna get crashed hard, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna really hold up. So let me show you why I put this at an angle now that it's all together. So yeah, I don't know about it for me, but for people that don't crash super hard, it's probably going to be the best frame available because of the noise performance. So if you're not like bashing bandos all the time, I think it very well might be the best of the best in terms of frames. So we got that little guy laid down, and so that's what's going to happen there. It's just going to sit right up out of the way. It wraps right around that standoff. If we want, we can even zip tie it to that standoff for strain relief. Yeah, nice and clean. Just the minimal amount of wire. And also enough wire that if you need to rotate it for the flat spot to be on top, you can. Some batteries have the XT60 flipped, so you want to have enough length in this so that you can flip it if you need to, or run it with the angled side up. So yeah, there we go. And then there's this handy little cutout right here in the frame for the capacitor to just kind of take up a little bit of extra space in, which is really nice. You don't want it sticking up too much, but yeah, that's kind of nice that that's there as well. So there we go. ESC is good to go. Let's see if we get our first 3 beeps with a smoke stopper, of course, to make sure that we don't blow it up. This is going to check whether or not when we soldered those battery leads on, if we bridged anything or if anything weird is basically going on. So we're going to set this to 1 amp mode. That is blue light not on. Blue light on is 2 amp mode. So we're going to leave it on 1 amp mode. We're going to plug it in. And then this is the new ViFly that has an on-off button. So we're going to hit the on button and hopefully we get some beeps. Hey! So, since it's not hooked up to the flight controller, we're not going to get the second set, the fourth and fifth beeps. Let's put it up to 2 amp, and we'll do it again. Cool. So, we haven't bridged anything in theory. I guess there's a chance that if there's the tiniest little bridge, once we feed it full voltage, it'll jump and explode. But I've never seen that happen. So usually if you can power it on like that on the Vifly, you're good to go. So yeah, let's just keep trucking along. So this is good. I mean, we could lay this in the frame, or we can put it over here, and we've got a little bit more space to work with. So let's do that. What do you say we mount the camera? Let's mount the camera and figure out. Well, actually, let me look at this flight controller that we're using. So we're using this T-Motor F7 flat bottom, other than this DJI plug. But yeah, we're using this flat bottom flight controller, which is kind of cool. Let me figure out which direction I'm going to mount it in. So, what do we got here? We got 10 volt ground, 5 volt VBAT, video out, video in, CC 5 volt VBAT ground. And then on the back here, we've got... Okay, cool. Let me actually grab the little flight controller instruction manual. And there isn't one. Or maybe there is. Hold on. I might have put it in the box. Nope. There isn't one. So let's go to the internet and let's see how the internet wants me to build this. Because if you build it the way that the wiring diagram tells you to on the internet, if you then have to rewire something, you can just go right back to the internet, look at where their guide told you to put stuff, and you'll know what's on what pad, basically, and you won't have to like trace wires and stuff like that. So it's a really nice little hack. Blizzard FPV with $11.11 Californian, not Canadian, Californian. What's up, Joey Whitaker? Thank you, Blizzard. Very, very cool. I'm going to put that into the gear fund here. We are a little bit closer to a computer from this century. So I'm going to go to the Google machine here. And I'm going to type in T-Motor Pacer F7. And let's see what we get. Let's go to images. And this is what I'm looking for here. Let's just head over to GetFPV's website. So let me take a quick look at this and make sure that it's the same one. And it certainly is. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is the wiring diagram that you know, T-Motor came out with. So again, if we just use this wiring diagram right here, right, use this one, and do it the way that they want us to, we will then have like a resource here on the internet for if we ever need to know where we soldered stuff up. So I'm gonna mount it the way that they want me to mount it. And so that's there and there. And we're going to share grounds for the VTX and the camera. It's always a good thing to do. Joey Whitaker says, did those gearbox shims work out? I never actually used them, to be honest, Joey. What's up, Aeon? How are you, man? I haven't had a chance to use them yet, Joey. I haven't built anything where I need to do that, but I'm gonna. Next time I build something that's... I usually use TPU to mount my cameras on the front standoff so that there's a little bit of shock damping for the really hard explosion, slam, destructo-matic hits that my rigs tend to take. So yeah, I just haven't had to do that. Just trying to figure out where I want to mount this. So that's going to be facing forward. That's going to be out the side, which is a little annoying. Not the end of the world, though. So that's going to be there. Okay, so for the VTX, they've got 5 volt there. Where's a VBAT pad? Scrolling a little bit for you guys. Okay, so looking at the top of it, what do we got? We've got a 10 volt bypass. Maybe that's, I could use that to, well, hold on. What's this VTX actually? Is this a 5 volt VTX? 5 volt out, ground, power. I gotta look up what this VTX wants in terms of input. So let's do that real quick. It is a Xylo, what's it called? Stax VTX. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Xylo Stax VTX. That's the one. All right, let's see. What are you? Are you 5 volt or are? Oh, come on, good FPV. Leave me alone. Are you 5 volt or are you? Input voltage 7 to 36 volts. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think I'm gonna feed it from this 10 volt pad. That's kind of cool. So that'll what that will do. Feeding this thing from the 10 volt pad, 10 volts. So its input voltage range is 7 volts to 36 volts. So 10 volts is definitely within there. Feeding it 36 volts is not going to make it work any better. It just, electricity doesn't work like that. As long as you're feeding it a voltage in the range that it wants, it's going to regulate that voltage to what it actually wants, and then you're going to be good. So feeding it 10 volts is totally fine. This flight controller more than likely has a 10 volt pad because it's also set up for DJI. We're not going to be running DJI, so we might as well use the 10 volt pad on this thing, right? So yeah, we're going to use the 10 volt pad, and what that's going to do is it's going to put a little bit more filtering in line. So we've got the battery that's pushing into the ESC, and then the ESC is going to be pushing full voltage into the flight controller. At that point, you can just tap into that full voltage and send that to the VTX. But at that point, you're not really getting any additional filtering. By using the 10 volt pad on here, that full VBAT voltage is coming into this flight controller. It's going through a BEC to bring it to 10 volts, and that BEC is going to act as a little bit of a filter. So by putting this on the 10 volt pad, we're putting the most possible filtering in between the battery, which is very noisy, and the VTX itself. So that's a little tip. And then the other thing that we're going to do to really help video noise is we're going to share the ground pad. And what that means is when I wire this camera up, the camera ground pad, I'm going to put the VTX ground wire on the exact same pad. It's one of the things that I like about these flight controllers that have the same pads on both sides, is that I'm going to be able to put the camera, if this is the flight controller, I'm going to be able to put the camera ground on top and then the VTX ground on the bottom going the opposite direction. And it just makes installation a lot easier than trying to put 2 wires on top of the same pad. So yeah, let's get to it. We got the Xylo stacks up here. I got this up. So I'm going to use the 10 volt, then the ground, Oh, and there's a VBAT right next to it if we ever needed it. And then here's the other thing, right? Down the road, if for some reason the 10 volt BEC ever blows up on this, you can just move it 2 pads over to the VBAT pad, and you'll be good to go. So it'll be very repairable. Okay, so 10 volt out there, ground. We're gonna skip, and then we're gonna skip again. Camera control, we're not gonna use that. We're gonna skip that, and then we're gonna go to video in, figuring out what I'm gonna tin here. So we're gonna go outside, 2 outside, 1, 2, 3 skips, and then we're gonna tin. Cool. 2 outside, 1, 2, 3 skips, tin, smart audio. So they want smart audio on UART 3. Cool, that makes sense. That's right there. So 2 in a row, 3 in a row. There's another VBAT pad. 3 in a row. We're gonna skip that VBAT pad. Why am I not showing you guys this? So I'm gonna tin this one, skip, 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 tin, 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 skip, tin for the camera, tin, nope, and that's it. This is the last one that I'm gonna connect up to. I don't need this 10 volt bypass. Unless I wanted to use these for the VTX, but I guess I would kind of rather space them out. Doesn't really matter. Well, they put a lot of pads on here. This is pretty nice. So then on this side we've got SCL, SDA. What the hell are those? TX2, RX2. But what I really want to look is, again, look down here where they're sort of recommending. So the camera is going to be on the ground. The camera is not going to be on VBAT. I'm going to put the camera on 5 volt. And then there's the video in. There's the camera control. If I decide to do that, I guess I will. Nope, I won't, because this camera doesn't have it. And then there's all the VTX stuff. And then on the bottom here, we're just going to follow what it wants. Although I'm actually not going to put a receiver on this rig because I have no idea if you guys are on Tracer or Crossfire or FR Sky or what. But then I'm not going to be able to fly the damn thing. Well, shit. Damn. I forgot about that. It's probably a good idea for me to not fly it because every time I fly something, I destroy it. So, yeah. These are smooth motors. Wow, these are really smooth motors. I'm going to put my standard sort of tune on here, and then whoever wins this, if that tune is not enough, we'll work together. But yeah, I'm not going to put a receiver on here because it just doesn't make any sense. I'll be able to check video. I'll be able to set the flight. Yeah, I'll be able to set everything up just without the receiver. That's fine. Cool. So I'm not going to worry about the back. But what I am going to do is tin the pads in the back for whoever wins this, so that they won't have to even look up the the wiring diagram. So let's get to it. Hopefully you guys have the bench view. I've got you kind of zoomed in. Well, let me check it. Yep. You guys are on the bench cam. Okay. So I can't see the chat. Oh, fucker. I can't see the chat or you guys just for a minute because I want to get a bunch of these pads tinned up. So just bear with me for a minute here. I'm gonna go TX and RX, so these two at the end. And then skip one, which is 3.3 volt. And then I'm gonna assume that you guys aren't on Spectrum. That's what the 3.3 volt pad is. So yeah, I'm gonna assume that you're on one of the more common receiver links. And those are the pads that I'm going to tin up here for you guys. For whoever wins it, I should say. So here's a 5-volt pad. Got that one. Ground right next door. And then we've got T1 and R1. All right, so there you guys go. Whoever wins this, it'll be nice and simple for you to get your receiver on there, and you'll be up and running in no time. So now on the top, I'm actually going to do it from the top. I got to scroll up a little bit. Well, it depends on how I sort of built. Okay, I'm actually going to use. I am going to use the pads on this side. So I changed my mind. I'm going to use the 10-volt pad on this side, and then the ground, and then the 5-volt. Yeah. This will be better. This will be better. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to use the 10 volt over here, and then this is going to be the shared ground right next door. And then I'm going to skip the VBAT pad. I mean, although I could power the camera. Oh, wow. So there's a Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong side of it. Okay, I thought there might have been a discrepancy between the manual and the thing, but there's not. Okay, 10 volt ground. I mean, I could power the camera from VBAT. But I don't know. The camera's all little. No, I'm gonna put the camera on the 5-volt for the same reason that it's gonna be behind another BEC for more filtering. So 10 volt ground, 5 volt, and then here's video in, here's video out, and then here's T3 for smart audio. And then this camera does not have camera control. It doesn't look like from the wiring harness that was provided. So here we go. Video out first. And on the ground, I'm going to actually tin both sides of it. Flip it over and tin it on the bottom as well. There's video out. Here is smart audio. Here is video in. Come on. Come on, little buddy. What's going on? Tip of the iron dirty, or is this thing coming down to temperature? It's coming down to temperature. The soldering iron thought that I wasn't using it, and it dropped its temperature down to 350 degrees. Give it a second to warm back up. And all right, that should be good. There we go, much better. All right, so there's our video in. No camera control. We are going to jump over to 5 volt for the camera power. No VBAT. Jump over to ground. This is the one that I'm going to do top and bottom. And then here's the 10 volt all the way on the outside. And so now I'm going to flip it. And this ground, shared ground pad here, I'm going to tin on the bottom. And that's it. I'm actually also going to tin this 10 volt out pad on the bottom because I'm going to run the VTX wires between the, well, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm going to have video out going up and over. Yeah, no, I'll run the power underneath and I'll run the video out on top. I'll talk about that more once we get there. Okay, so camera. Oh boy. We're all tinned up. I can zoom my screen out and look at chat again. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Ruby Tim says, if it has 5 volt out, it doesn't want 5 volt in. Oh, that's... is that true? Could just do a pass-through. Never thought about that. Do the TBS 5 volts not have 5 volts out? That's interesting. I never even thought about that. Metal Durskin says, I've always wondered why we're going to overrun the capacity of the tiny, tiny little pin that feeds all the juice to the flight controller. Yeah, it does seem kind of nuts that we're sending VBAT through the through a 30 gauge wire, right? FinFPV says, what does it mean by bypass? SCI STA is for compass, Freelojo says. Gotcha. Finn, so what it means, I was kind of thinking that myself. The ESC, actually has a 10 volt. Yeah, the ESC has a 10 volt BEC in it. So wait, we can see it over here. There it is. So you see how that says 10 volt in there, and that's on the ESC plug. I hope you guys can see that. Wait, now here, let me make it. Now you can probably see it. So yeah, that on the 4-in-1 plug, it says 10 volt in. So that's why it's saying it's just a bypass. So it's kind of not all flight controllers do this, but yeah, this flight controller is taking that 10 volt in through that pin, and then it's sending it to these 2 pads here. There's also another pad, there's another pin between the flight controller and the ESC that's called VBAT, and then so it's sending that VBAT bypass here. So the flight controller actually doesn't have the extra BEC, the ESC does. Same kind of principle though. I try to put the VTX and the camera, anything video related, I try to put them as many layers deep on the power side as I can on filtering and BECs and other stuff. And then for the ground, you want basically my dad described it as like a star. You want your grounds to be a star where they all connect to one central point. We only have the camera and the VTX that really matter in terms of noise, so it's easy. We just put those 2 grounds on the same pad, and that's one of the best things that we can do to cut down on video noise. Torquetastic says, got the 5.5 inches glide flying pretty good. Still got yaw bounce back. Raising P seems to have positive effect. Any other ideas I can try? Yeah, yaw will almost always have bounce back because it's such a slow to react axis. Typically, you don't really do hard yaw only moves, so in actual flying, you usually won't be able to tell. So yeah, just ignore it. iTerm relax at a setting of 10 is going to kill pretty much all I gain related bounce back. More and more yaw P gain will handle it. But a lot of yaw P gain can cause some mid-throttle oscillations and some other nonsense. So unless you're seeing it when you're actually flying for real, I just tend to leave it in. I just tend to leave in a little bit of yaw bounce back. You pretty much will never just jam the yaw stick back and forth. You'll usually accompany it with roll. And yeah, it just doesn't... You don't see it. You don't see it in the footage. Freeloader says it's a 5 volt pass through. Rumi Tim says I've never seen a 5 volt VTX have a 5 volt out. It might exist, but I haven't seen it. Very interesting. Freeloader, that's what I was thinking of, like a pass through. Suave FPV says looking sexy, bro. Matthew Savu says CiottiFPV totally has it going on. Am I looking good? I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling fucking strong. Working out every day, doing yoga. I feel very, very like strong in my body, which is, I've never really had that, right? Like I've had little short stints of working out, and then I get too frustrated by how often I have to eat, because I already have a crazy metabolism. It's good to really stick with it this time, and yeah, man, I'm feeling good. So here is our camera cable. Let's take a look at, before I start soldering, let's take a look at how much distance we need on the camera. So it's going to sit roughly there. And then we want that. And then I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of extra slack going downwards. And then it's going to come back upwards. And those pads are a little bit in front of the 30 by 30 posts. So yeah, if we go sharply down with it, if we go shrimply pibbles with it, that should be perfect. So let's cut it right there. Shrimply pibbles in the house. Who gets that reference? I'm sure a lot of you guys get that reference. Cool. So let's zap it on there. Greg Womack says, will it be an easy setup? What, this rig? For sure it will. Because we're following the guide on the internet there, we won't have to like pay any attention to which UARTs we're putting stuff on, right? Because it's all right there on the website. And then I'll be able to blitz through the setup in like 5 minutes or so. And the only thing I won't be able to set up is the receiver. But again, that will be easy for whoever wins this to set up because it'll be right there in the CiottiFPV product page. Freelojo says Pluto. Pluto? Pluto? What? I think Shrimply Pibbles is from, well, fuck, now I can't think of the name of the show. The outer, Royland's new show. Without Dan Harmon for the first time, I think. Solar Opposites. I think that's what Shrimply Pibbles is from, isn't it? Shit, now I don't remember. Alright, tinned. Tinned. And tinned. Doc says, not going to test fly it with your own crossfire receiver. I don't, I'm very torn as to what to do there, Doc, because that's weird. Strange. One of the local guys can't get into the stream for some reason. That's really, really weird. There's nothing I can do about that. That's YouTube being a shitbag. Weird. Is it from Rick and Morty? It is from Rick and Morty. That sucks. Has anybody else had any trouble getting into the streams? Getting into any of these streams? That's super weird. That's really concerning. Ricardo says your workbench cam's white balance is all over the place. Ricardo, you should have seen it when I had a purple. What the hell is this thing called? Cutting pad? It was so much worse. Thanks for calling that out, though. I can come in here and lock the white balance. Where's my gray card at? I don't have my gray card, so let me just do it manually. Nope, that ain't it. The other problem is this this light has adjustable. I can change the white balance on the light itself. which is kind of annoying. So let me turn it off and on because it resets itself every time you turn it on. So let me turn it on here, and now I'll dial the white balance in for its normal setting, and then it'll be pretty good. It'll be kind of close enough. All right, that's about good. Is that good skin tone? Yeah, that's my normal skin tone. Cool. All right. More Logitech issues. Greg Womack says, just ordered Crossfire. It'll be an easy setup. Rick and Morty. Jerry went to Pluto in Rick and Morty. Ah, right. Greg Womack calling me a blasphemous dog. EEDoc saying, would make sense for you to test it with your Crossfire receiver, then solder it off before shipping it. I think last poll had 5-inch pilots at 60% Crossfire compatible receivers. The problem is I actually don't have an extra Crossfire receiver right now. I meant to. Oh, God! Hey, you guys will love this. Guess what time it is? I have shamelessly stolen that from Mighty Car Mods. Go watch Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to them. They are amazing guys. I've been watching them for almost 10 years. If you're at all into cars, you will love it. It is the best car channel on YouTube. Mighty Car Mods. Hopefully that's enough for you guys not to get upset with me, because that probably just copyrighted me on YouTube. I love you guys. Don't throw me in Facebook, or not Facebook. Don't throw me in YouTube jail, please. I did a little order. Dab time. Look at all you stoner fucks. I did an RDQ order, as you can see by the tape, because RDQ, no, secret. I'll show you that last. So I picked up an extra Predator Nano. This is a V5. This is the FPV camera that I've just decided on. So I'm going to be putting Predator Nanos in everything that doesn't have a Runcam hybrid in it. So basically, every time I do an order, I'm just going to pick up another Predator Nano, and I'll slowly change all my rigs over to it. So there was that in there. There is a Tattoo R-Line, I think 4S, right? I hope this is a 4S. 850. I finally decided on 4S 850s as the battery that I'm going to run on both Cinesplores. I really don't need more battery than that, since my Cinesplores are so lightweight. I get a little over 5 minutes on a little tiny 850. So yeah, I'm just sticking with them. And so same kind of deal. Every order that I do, I'm just going to snag one 4S 850. And RDQ had the Tattoo R-Line 4S 850 in stock. It's kind of hard to find 4S 850s in stock right now, so I snagged one of these, and that is exciting to me. Metal Dirtson says, what kind of awful problems would you have if you put a Predator camera in an Alien frame? I'm not sure I understand the question totally, Metal. Like, what? I mean, I don't think you'd have any problems. What are you thinking might be a problem? As long as you get the right size. I mean, like, if you got a Nano, it'd be way too small. But they make Predator Mini, they make Predator Micro, so you'd be able to buy a Predator. Oh. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that didn't get it, though. Who else didn't get it? EEDoc didn't get it either, so... Remember, guys, the best jokes are always the ones that you need to explain. Oh, man, that was a good one, too, and it just fucking winged right over my head. I picked up a FPV Cycle 200mm battery strap because they had them, and, you know, whatever. Jesus Christ. Freelegio says, once in a while I don't get YouTube notifications, but I've got you playing on my phone and computer, so it looks like you guys all got into the stream okay. Very weird. BeepTube ordered a Predator Nano for a 3-inch build. Going to build it analog first, then switch it to Shark Bite when the Race VTX comes out. Very, very cool. And what else do we have in here? I'm caught up on chat, by the way. Oh, I got in an amazing moment of forethought. They also sell the Foxier Nano Predator Nano replacement lens. So I picked up a replacement lens because it's only a matter of time before I demolish one of the lenses on one of the Predators. Although what is nice about them being a nano camera is that they're so small that they sit in from the standoffs and they're protected. So I might actually never blow up a one of these Predator Nanos. And they're so lightweight that even in really hard hits, they don't like blow up because they don't have any momentum because they're so lightweight. Lightweight fixes everything, people. What's this? This is an additional Eachine Nano V2. This is my preferred micro VTX. It goes all the way up to 400 milliwatts, and it has a tiny little microphone on board. It's really small, shockingly durable, and they're like $13. Fuck paying $30 for a TBS Nano Pro 32. Buy 2 of these and you'll have spent less money. Not that, you know, I don't know. Here's the thing about it too, right? You could say like, oh, fuck Eachine, they just copy everything. That's not a clone. That's like a totally different layout. Like they made that VTX, and Eachine does a hysterically good job with their video components. I've used Eachine video components for a long time, and they've always been phenomenal. Here's the reason that I placed this order, though. Let me just make sure everything else is out of here. Yeah. The reason that I placed this order is that RDQ is the only place that has Toka 1505s in stock. So I got a set of these Toka 1505s, and then I bought the singular one a month or two ago to check if it was Kagi/Nachi, and it's not. It's beautifully smooth. So these Toka 1505s are going to go onto a ripsqueak, and we're going to see what's more durable, the Brother Hobby 1504.5s or the Toka 1505s. These are considerably heavier than those Brother Hobby motors. So these are going to have to be a hell of a lot more durable to justify running these. So I don't know. I don't have super high hopes for these because of how heavy they are, but maybe these will end up on the Acrobrat. I'm really interested if I could run these on the Acrobrat. Right now it's got the 1804s on it. Let me actually check the weight. Let me see what kind of weight that would save me on that rig. And we might as well weigh a 1504.5 while we're at it. So let me see what I got here in the motor box. Oh, you know, I forgot to order another. Well, I don't need to order another one. I have it. I thought that I used my last 1504.5, but apparently I did not. And then here's the 1804. Okay, so at the moment, the Acrobrat is on 1804 X-Nova motors, which weigh 14.8 grams each. If I were to move that rig over to these Tokas, 14.8, wow, becomes 11.5. So 14.8, call it 11.8, 11, 12, 3, 3, 6, 9, 12. So that's 12 grams all up weight removed, and 12 grams of weight removed off the ends of the arms. That's pretty nuts. On the ripsqueaks, one of them is going to be on an 11.4 gram motor. The other one with these Brother Hobby 1504.5s is going to be on, that's not that big of a difference, 10.3. So it's roughly a 1 gram difference. Yeah, 1 gram difference between the 1504.5 Brother Hobby and the Toka 1505, but a 3 gram difference potentially on the Acrobrat getting off of the 1804. These 1804s, I think they're a little too big for 3-inch propellers. I've had that thought for a long time. I think these are the perfect motor for a 3.5-inch prop, though. And 3.5-inch props are really starting to become a thing, so that's kind of interesting. We'll see where that goes. It's gonna go somewhere fun. I can't say anything, but there's something cool 3.5-inch coming. So if you're looking at diving into the, so here's the story behind 3.5-inch. 3.5-inch prop. I'll take a step back. When you look at these both, no, one of them's 2400, one of them's 1950. When you look at yourself in the mirror, no. When you look at the ratio of prop size to all up weight with 5-inch rigs, and then you scale that down to 250 grams as the all up weight, the correct propeller size is 3.5-inch. To maintain the same, it's related to disc loading, but it's that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, to build a 250 gram rig that gives you the same, not the same, but the closest possible flight dynamics to a 5-inch freestyle rig, you want it to be on a 3.5-inch propeller. Chris Rosser stumbled across that in one of his videos, and it's something that I have felt for a long time. And have been kind of screaming from the rooftops. Not necessarily 3.5-inch, because I never really expected us to be able to get access to a 3.5-inch propeller, but it's what I've been screaming and yelling about with 3-inch rigs needing to be 210-ish grams all up weight. So yeah, since we're obsessed with, and I mean, here's the thing, right? These rip squeaks with the hybrid on board, like, that's it. Like, that's the micro that you want to build. The flight characteristics are as close as possible to 5-inch. It's quiet. It's safe. Runcam hybrid is 4K. It's protected. They're durable. We need a better propeller for sure. I'm hoping to fix that with working with GemFan. But yeah, that's really it. I don't really think that we necessarily need to go up to 250 grams, 3.5-inch, but maybe I'm wrong. I've not flown a 250 gram, 3.5-inch rig, but I will be soon because of something cool that's coming. But yeah, on that particular rig, I think it's going to be an 1804 and a new motor that's coming that I also can't really tell you much about. But in due time. Jeremiah Blackwell says, when are you going to build the 4-inch 250? As soon as Tommy cuts me a camera cage that will work with the Runcam hybrid. I don't have a camera that will work in it yet. So it's just kind of sitting here waiting for a new camera cage up front. But as soon as I get these Runcam hybrid camera plates from Tommy, I'm going to be doing that build. If you guys want to speed that process along, shoot Tommy a message, comment on something, get words in front of him that say, hey, I want to build a 250, but I want to build it analog with a Runcam hybrid. Help. That's all you got to say. You just say, hey, I want to build a 250, but with a Runcam hybrid, and he'll know. Nope, nothing with my name on it. Nothing with my name on it. License to Drive says, my friends and I have killed probably 5 or 6 of those lenses on our Foxeer Digisites. Ooh, interesting. Are they hanging out the front of the rig? Are they like physical damage? Obese Crod says, have you seen Chris Rosser's new frame? Yeah, I talked about it a little bit ago. All those extra standoffs and whatnot are going to get broken in like hard freestyle flying on poles and shit like that. So it's not the frame for me. But for somebody not like flying bandos and crashing super, super, super hard, it's going to be amazing. Basically, yeah, I mean, I tend to crash into like poles and shit a lot, poles and signs, and a lot of times when you're nose down and you crash into a vertical object, you have a tendency to send that vertical object right through here. And when there's an A-arm frame, it just blasts right through that front part of the A-arm. This is my problem with the Acrobrat frame, is that it has the A-arm frame design, and I break the front part of that A-arm constantly. So yeah, I don't necessarily think it's going to be the frame for me, but it's going to be one hell of a good frame. And if you don't find yourself crashing into vertical chunks of metal all the time, it's going to be the frame for you. Because if it smacks on the ground, it's going to be really strong because it's 6 mil thick carbon. So yeah, it's going to be really good for anybody that's not crashing into vertical stuff all the time. But for some reason, I tend to crash into vertical stuff a lot. Jackalope says, happy Friday, bro, Semite Sam. What the fuck is that? CH3 says, so Brandon Ciotti frame, Brandon Ciotti motors, not yet, not soon, but at some point, hopefully. License to Drive says, Foxy or Digisites are on our tiny trainers. Pretty good protection, except right in the center of the lens where it's impossible to protect. Gotcha. Yeah, the tiny trainer has that lens kind of hanging out there. I can totally see that. All right, more work, if you can call it that. Okay. So we got the camera, and we're gonna do that first here. So we're gonna share this ground pad, and then we want this 5 volt, and then we want this video in. So, oh hey, look at that. They're all in the right spot. That's pretty nice. So we're gonna go ground first. I guess technically I should shorten up the middle cable, but that's a little crazy. All right. And let's use tweezers instead of just getting it okay. Get it perfect. Reason why it's nice to use tweezers with these 30 gauge wires is you can get them to sit completely flat against the pad. And that is kind of important. There are like 8 strands of wire on the inside of these 30 gauge wires. So they're not super durable. So anything that you can do to make them a little bit more durable is going to be really helpful. And getting the shielding directly up against the edge of the board and getting the wire flat against the pad are the 2 things that you can do to really improve the durability there. So do it, because it only takes like an extra second. Get this one a little bit more flat here. That's the stuff. All right, so our camera is good to go. VTX, did you not come with... No, it did not come with any wires because it's just pads, which is totally fine. So in theory, maybe this is long enough here. Let's take a quick look. So that's going to be up front. This guy is going to be pulling off both of those, and then, oh yeah, this is totally long enough. Okay, cool. Great. This VTX is 30 by 30 though, so we're just gonna break these pads off, and we'll just zip tie it down to the bottom plate, and then I'm even gonna use a little bit of I have heat tape, heat transfer tape that I'm gonna put on the bottom of this thing. So I mean, I guess I don't have to break these 30 by no, we're breaking them off. They look ridiculous. I wonder if usually I cut them off, but I guess I can just bend them off here. I'm gonna cut them off. No reason to put that much bending force on the PCB. Okay. 3 and 4. All right, so VTX. Well, no, I just confirmed that this is enough wire. So let's finish up the flight controller, and then we'll move over to the VTX. So we've got 330 gauge wires here. We're going to do video out. We're going to do 10 volt bypass, and then we're going to use the same ground pad as the camera. So that ground pad is over here, and I'm going to do something a little different, which is to run the two of these wires over, and I'm sorry, 2 of these wires under the power and the ground, and then one of these wires I'm going to run over the flight controller. The reason being is that I want to keep the video wire as far away from the ESC as possible. So basically, I'm just going to continue to kind of unwrap this until I have just enough. Yeah, so that's just about perfect. So these guys are going to go over, these guys are going to go under, and yeah, happy days will be here again. There's kind of, and then the reason that I don't just run all 3 of them over the flight controller is that any wires that are up above the flight controller, I'm always a little bit worried about them bouncing into the flight controller and contacting the flight controller, and that's going to give bad gyro readings. It's usually not a really big deal unless like they're pressed up against the gyro itself, but it's just one of those things where it's like, just, do it this way. Don't do it the other way. It also makes it a little bit cleaner, right? Like you've got your battery strap going up above it. So yeah, there's that. And then on the other end of this wire, we're just going to clip off the connector, and then we'll direct solder that to the VTX. So let's get this going here. Although, now that I say this, if I have all 3 of these, if I have all 3 of these bundled together, there's really not much of a chance of them smacking into the now let me do it this way. Yeah, let's do it this way. Yeah, we're gonna do it this way. It's just kind of one of those things that probably doesn't matter, but hey, it doesn't take any extra time to do it this way, right? And if it makes 1% of a difference, then hey, we spent no extra time to have a little bit of an improvement. Know what I'm saying? Tin. Again, we're putting the soldering iron below the wire, and then we're pushing the solder through the strands. And there we go. So now we're going to take this little fella. We're going to get our tweezers out again. And I'm looking for video. Balls. I need smart audio as well. Okay. I need a fourth wire. I thought this looked a little. I thought there was not much going on here. So let me look through this box of wires. Let me look through this box of frogs. Box of fwogs. Wait, no. I've got this box. I've got this box from Immersion RC stuff, and I think there's a million of this one cable that I never use. Man, I've got a lot of cables in here. Is it this? Wow, there's a lot of these. Is this the right length? Yeah, this is plenty long. And it's got red, it's got black, it's got white, it's got yellow. I think I'm going to cannibalize one of these because I have so effing many. Yeah, these are the ones that I never use. Or are they? I mean, regardless, I have a million of them. Is this the one with 2 grounds? Yeah, it is. I don't need the one with 2 grounds. I just need the one with 1 ground. That's the 2 grounds. Well, these all have 2 grounds, so that's fine. Yeah, whatever. Gimme. You go. You go. Bye-bye. Alright, this is also why I've never bought, like, spools of 30 gauge wire. Oh, I accidentally pulled 2 of them out of there. That's annoying. Whatever. Yeah, we end up with enough wire from... oh, shit. This is one of the ones with just the single ground. God damn it. This is one of the ones with the single ground. Those are the ones that I don't have a lot of. Diatone Roma 5-inch. Crash FPV says 680 battery. Hero 9. Ended up at 840. Motors are on fire. GoPro too heavy for it? Nope. GoPro is definitely not too heavy for it. They just have a shitty PID tune on there, more than likely. Back your... Well, check over... if you're on my Patreon, I have a really well put together article that I wrote on troubleshooting motor heat with a step-by-step list for you as to how to troubleshoot that problem. So I would do that, but I mean, basically, you're gonna look for anything loose, motor screws touching the windings of the motor, stuff like that. And then if make sure the arms aren't loose, shit like that. And then if none of that's the issue, you're gonna drop your P gains and your D gains down by like 10 points and see if that helps. And then, I mean, you can fuck around with filtering and you can really go down the rabbit hole with it. Although, I don't know, if you just bought it, I would actually message whatever the shop is that you bought it from and say, hey, the motors are coming down super hot. Send me one that works. Because, like, there's something wrong with that rig. That should not be happening. But yeah, if you want to go down the rabbit hole and troubleshoot it yourself, you certainly can. But it's going to take time. So yeah, maybe contact wherever you bought it from and be like, you going to send me a working one now, or am I going to trash on you all over the internet? Don't say that. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Kind of second guessing using these because no, it's fine. It's fine. Don't be a crazy person. Don't be a crazy person. You have lots of extras. It's gonna be okay. Just take it and clip the goddamn end off. Hey, there we go. Cool. Now I can't be crazy anymore because I already ruined it. All right, good. So we're gonna take the red, black, yellow, and white out of here. And I just like to use white for smart audio for some reason. No, I don't know. No real good reason that I do that, but it's just something I do. Thanks Freelojo for dropping the link. Crash FPV says motors only get hot when running it with the GoPro. Without it, they're cool to the touch after a pack. That's really weird. My guess at that point would be that the tune is on the razor's edge and it's really only meant for running it without the GoPro. As soon as you put the GoPro on it, that's making the tune a little bit upset. So at that point, I would try just dropping your P gains and your D gains down by 10 points and see if that helps. That's going to tell us a lot. That's going to tell us if it's a tune related thing, or I mean, I think they put big motors on that, so it shouldn't be a motors too small issue. I wouldn't think. But I mean, God only knows. Pre-built rigs are kind of a gamble in a lot of different ways. You're like assuming that it's being built and tuned similar to how you want to fly it, and that's kind of a big assumption. So yeah, take 10 points of P and D gain out. See how that does off all axes. Yaw doesn't have D gain, but yeah, every P and D pull 10 out. See if that gets the motor heat under control. It's gonna fly worse by doing that, but it's at least gonna get you started on the path of troubleshooting it. Yeah. Also, I guess while you're at it, make sure that your GoPro mount is not wobbling all over the place. If the GoPro mount is wobbling all over the place, that could potentially put extra vibrations into the flight controller and into the gyro that it's not expecting. So yeah, make sure that your GoPro mount and like everything. I mean, the whole rig should be very, very rigid. Like there shouldn't be anything wobbling around. Make sure your battery's not wobbling around. Make sure the GoPro's not wobbling around. You can't have any of that stuff. That's all bad juju for those for a 5-inch rig. So yeah, check that as well. It's a good thing to check. Alright, so we're going to use this white for smart audio, so we'll do that one first. Don't really need any extra solder on here. Come on. Alright, there's our smart audio wire. Here comes our video wire. Okay. Just get that smart audio wire totally flat real quick. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. And now I am going to go on the bottom of the board and do these power leads. So it was, we're going to go ground here, and we're going to go 10 volt on the outside there. Ground first. And then power. And this one's going to be a little difficult because it's kind of a funny angle. It was a funny angle. It was behind you, Tyrone. When you reverse, things come from behind you. it was a funny angle. I'm not even going to ask you guys to call out what movie that's from, because if you don't know, I'll be very disappointed. So I'm just going to assume that everybody knows what movie that's from, and I'm just going to move on with my life. Don't you disappoint me with your movie knowledge, people. Don't you dare. Alright, let's take a quick look under a 5X loop. That looks really good. That looks not great. Let's actually fix that one. That's why you look at stuff under a 5X loop, because you can actually see what's going on with it. Some fresh solder on here. There we go. That's better. That's me kind of splitting hairs, to be honest with you, but oh yeah, it's a little bit better. Cool, these look really good. So now we're gonna run these back. Well, I'm gonna spin these guys up, actually. Crash FPV with a $4.99 super chat. He says, everything's pretty tight. Thanks for the help. I'm gonna try dropping the PID. Sounds good, Crash FPV. Thank you for the support. Let me know how it goes. If I gotta be honest, I'm starting to feel like it's you got a wobbly GoPro mount, which dropping the PIDs will help with, but here's the problem with doing that: it's gonna cripple the not cripple, but you're gonna have a worse PID tune. It's always better to fix the mechanical system and have a better PID tune than to ignore the mechanical system and have a shittier PID tune. Does that make sense? So yeah, definitely investigate your GoPro mount setup to make sure that there's zero wobble in that setup. And then if there is any wobble, you just sort of like look at it and just try to figure out how to fix that. You need it to be as stable as possible. It's one of the things that always kind of worried me about using those foam wedges to mount GoPros. That just seems like a recipe for mid-throttle vibes. I mount all of my GoPros on nice beefy TPU 3D printed mounts like this, to make sure that the GoPros are held nice and solid. Let me send a text. Since I'm wrapping this stream up at 9, I can go to downtown Alpharetta and talk to women. Let's see. Wow, 13 text messages. Holy shit on a shingle. Let me message Chris. See if he's down to hang. Hold on, people. Hold on. Priorities, okay? Priorities. Yo! What you doing tonight? Let's go hit on women. That's about it's about every, oh wait, no, FPV people, that's right. Yeah, we got a little bit of rain earlier. Tu Wong Fu, what a great movie. Who just called that movie out? What a great fucking movie. Who was it? Somebody's getting props for calling that movie out. I just saw it. Toy Story 3. Metal Dirtskins called it out. Nice. My man, Metal. My man. See what Glenn's up to. Yo. Alright, or what? Alright, cool. I don't think I know anybody else in the area that's single, so. Alright, cool. So we got this going. That's not the right camera. Here we go. And, so these guys appear to be long enough, although why the hell is the one so much shorter than the other? That's a little odd. Whatever. Let's get these guys out here. I hope these are long enough. Now I'm starting to worry that these are not long enough, but we'll see. We'll see in a minute. Yeah. I mean, I thought I kind of measured it, and it looked like it was going to be long enough. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm going to have to do this all over again. That'll be the first time ever. No, it won't. No, it won't. It won't be the first or the last time. Unfortunately. Yeah. All right. And one more. Yeah. Making the noise helps. I know that might seem crazy, but I've tested that theory time and time again, and it holds true. Rob Axelson is at work. Doc says, "Do we need to get the chat buzzing on FPV related pickup lines?" No, I'm good on that front. Doc, I'm old enough that to know that pickup lines don't work. Basically. Okay, here we go. All right, come on, get up in there. Get tinned, bro. There we go. Last one. All right, we are tinned. So now we can bring in the VTX, which is silk screened on the bottom. Okay, so I want to put the MMCX in the, let me just think about this for a second. So the buttons are on the back, so yeah, I want to mount this with the buttons rearward, just so that they're easier to get to. Yeah, so, okay, cool. So the MMCX is going to be on the side, and then I'll just run the MMCX up like that, and then, I guess I don't have a way of mounting a VTX antenna here, but I'll figure something out. So yeah, it's going to be run like that. Okay, cool. So that's going to be there. So, unless I ran it width-wise. Oh, it kind of fits in there nice wide. Let's see. Let's see real quick here. So this is going to get mounted like that. If I mount it lengthwise, oh yeah, the wires are totally long enough. But what's interesting is if I mount it wide like this, the buttons are actually a lot easier to get to. And then this little fella is here, and then it's just kind of a straight shot to the back. Man, I don't hate that. I don't hate mounting it widthwise like that. It'll definitely make these buttons easier to get to. I mean, if we're still using buttons, though, come on. What is this, 1902? It's more protected like this. I'm gonna run it like this. I'm gonna run it lengthwise, because it's quite a bit more protected that way. And let's be honest, nobody's using buttons anymore. Okay, so we're gonna tin the front pad, the second pad, the third pad, and then we're gonna skip one. 1, 2, 3, skip, and then video. 1, 2, 3, skip video. Ready? Here we go. That's right? In the front. 1, 2, 3, skip video. Yep. 1, 2, 3, skip video. Okay. Solder, where are you? We got, whoa. We got 1. We got 2. We got 3. We're going to skip. And then we got some video. All right. And ground and then VBAT. Let's get that going. Ground and then VBAT. And let me coil these all the way up to the tips because they're going to be, that's what she said, because they're going to be right next to each other. Ground and then VBAT. Okay. Ground first. How do I want to come at this? Let's do it from the bottom like this. Yeah, that'll be good. All right, cool. So, and I am gonna like keep the directionality of these wires going towards the front so that it's a straight shot. We got ground on there. Now we're gonna do a little bit of VBAT. And it could be a little bit better. Let me get that a little cleaner. Just take it off. Kind of come at it from a little bit of a different angle here. Yeah, much better. Much better. Okay, cool. That's the ticket. All right, ground VBAT, and then smart audio, skip video. So let's come in here. Smart audio is on white, as we've been talking about. Spin these guys up together again here. Yeah, of course the white one is the one that's shorter. That's super annoying. Let me see if I can fix that a little bit here. No, not making it any better. Let's clip the white one a little bit shorter. And then I'll just retin it real quick here. Want this to be perfect for whoever gets it so that they love it. All right, that, and then let's do a little tin real quick like here. There we go. Okay, smart audio first, which is the white fella. Let's see if I can get this with my fingies. Clean the tip, find the flat spot, zap it down. Heat's not transferring because the tip of the iron is not tinned. Doc, don't worry, I do them in my head. But then I don't let them come out of my mouth. The appropriate way to do it. Oh yeah, fingies for not the win. Always use tweezers. That's what she said. this hopefully not to you. Or you, or you, or you, or you. There we go. That's looking beautiful. Got another one coming down here. And that, boys and girls, is how you build a quad. Well, that's how you solder up a quad. Now, all we got to do is slap it all into the frame, and we're pretty much good to go. I doubt that I can sneak that camera in. I think I have to take this top plate off, which I'll do in a second. Yeah, let's just put this back just for I don't lose it. Alright, so we've got our motor and ESC package, although I'm going to plug the cable in first because it looks like that's going to be pretty close to that center standoff. So let's do that real quick here. Always be very careful when plugging these in. You want to try to always plug them in once and like hopefully never remove them because they only have like a 10 plug-in life cycle. I know that sounds insane, but it's true. I'm going to coil this guy up here the way that we do. Keep this wire bunch all together. Okay, let's push this guy down here. And I'm going to put this on. I guess I could go around it. No, I'm going to put it on this side of the, well, we'll go around it. We'll get all fancy like and go around it. Let me take this top plate off. Whoa. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Drop the highs on your emotional EQ. Oh man, that's a weird reference. Oh boy. That's another movie reference. Nobody's gonna get that one. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What's up, Frinku? How are you? Tweak the highs on your emotional EQ. Somebody might get that. Oh boy. Come on. Get up out of there. Alright, good deal. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna kind of wrap this guy. Oh yeah, that's delicious. I'm so sorry for saying that word. I will never forgive myself. So let's push it down to get it out of the way of the camera, and then it's just gonna pop right back up. Oh wait, no, shit, I forgot. This has to go to the side. This has to go to the side. That's right. So yeah, I can't do that with this. I gotta go. Probably has to stay over here actually. Because then it needs to come up the side and plug into the flight controller over there. Pins up. Yeah, so it needs to come over here. Okay, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. It's not gonna have quite as much slack on it, but we gonna be all right. We're gonna be okay. Just need to set this up to make a quick, hard downturn like that, and then yeah, that guy's gonna hang out right there. So I need a couple of spacers here for this flight controller. Let's see how many I'm gonna need. So it looks like I'm also just gonna slide this capacitor ever so slightly out of the way. Just so that it's totally clear. of the flight controller. That's better. Okay. Much better. All right, so then that guy's gonna hang out there. This guy's gonna drop down. I'm gonna run these to the left, and then they can kind of come back to the right. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's good stuff there. Okay, cool. So let's see what we're doing with spacing this guy out. So that DJI plug is the first point of contact. Okay, so we're good to go. If I just pull it up a little bit, and then that gives plenty of room for this. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. So what's that look like? That looks like about a 5mm space. So let's grab some 5mm spacers, and we'll be good to go. What's up, Jasper? How are you, man? And everybody else that I'm not seeing that's saying hey. Okay. Apparently, I don't have any more of the aluminum ones, so you're gonna get plastic. Tried to put aluminum, but apparently I gotta order more. And we are gonna go plastic nuts because they just work. And they're light, and you can put a little bit of welder on top of them to make sure that they don't back out. There we go. 4 plastic nuts, and then we're going to use 4 plastic spacers because I have run out of the hippie hoppies. Of the aluminum ones. Those are English words. Yeah. I think this is what we're gonna do. Let's check. These actually might not be tall enough. I might need to switch this up a little bit. But let's take a quick look. I do like that these are threaded, these 5mm plastic spacers, because they'll hold the ESC down separately. If you run a non-threaded spacer, you run a little bit of a risk of the weight on like a really hard inverted crash. The weight of the ESC could potentially lift on the stack screws and push into the flight controller. But man, that would take a hell of a hit. But yeah, it is a little bit safer to have these spacers in between the flight controller and the ESC be threaded. That way they're going to take the energy of the ESC. And the ESC is kind of heavy. Brandon's been playing disc golf. Drony Droid says, pickup lines are unnecessary when you look as good as CiottiFPV. Oh, how I wish that was true, Drony Droid. Free Lojo's having issues with ghosts. Probably him, he says. And yes, the noise always helps. Apparently there's new ghosts. I just saw right before the stream, Spats put out a little quick video talking about a new ghost update that makes it like 2 milliseconds of latency, and it also fixes some of the jitter. So that's pretty effing cool. Interested in that. Alright, so I got those just barely tightened. Let's see where this flight controller sits on these plastic spacers. It sits a little too far down, I think. Little too far down. Let me screw these motors on so that they're not flopping around. I'm just going to put 1 screw in each. You never want shit flopping around in your build. Flopping is bad. No flop. You hear me? No flop. Make sure your builds are flopless. What time is it? 8:43? Alright, so we got... If bot comes on at 9, we got a little bit more here. Let me update his video page. See, I still don't see that he's got a live stream scheduled. Usually, oh god, excuse me. Usually it shows up in your videos section. But yeah, if I see him go live, I am gonna jump off and tell all you guys to go over and watch him. Because Friday nights at 9 has been his time slot forever. And there's just like, yeah. We try not to shit on each other if at all possible. A little dramatic, but you know, you guys know what I mean. Come on, get in there. There we go. So the DJI plug is what's potentially in the way. Is that it's the thing that'll make contact, but it looks like it's totally fine. Yeah, it's completely out of the way. It's close, but I mean, close is fine. Yeah, looks totally good. I can take a little pair of tweezers here and just push that wire out of the way, make sure that it never kind of gets in there. But yeah, I think we're totally fine. This looks really good. Nice and clean. That's routed out of the way. Just trying to see where the actual point where it would. Oh no, yeah, there's a ton of space in there. Oh god, yeah. There's like a millimeter. There's like a full millimeter of clearance. Oh yeah, we're good. Cool. So what that means is that I can put nylock nuts on top. I didn't think I was going to have the room for nylock nuts. What's cool about running nylock nuts on the top of your stack is that they have the nylock in them and they're not going to back out. So yeah, let's do that. Let's grab a set of these aluminum babies and put them on top. And then we'll be pretty much good to go. There we are. Oh, I forgot to scroll back down. Yeah, this is a QAVS frame. Paul McDonald says, are pin numbers always the same between Betaflight firmware, or do they change them? I know resource assigned may change, but does the pin? I actually have no idea, Paul. Anybody in the chat know the answer to Paul McDonald's question? Brandon says, did you see Chris Rosser's new frame? You gonna try it? Probably not, Brandon. I was talking about it. We've talked about it a couple times in the stream, but basically, I crash into a lot of like vertical metal poles and vertical signs and shit. And when you do that with an A-arm frame, you break the inner part of the A-arms a lot. So I'm really kind of locked into X, like true X, squished X style frames rather than A-arm style frames, just because I crash so much, and I crash into stuff that breaks frames a lot. So, but yeah, if you don't crash into vertical pipes and vertical signs and shit like that, arguably it's going to be the best frame out there because of the work that he's doing from a vibration analysis standpoint. So yeah, really excited about that frame, man. It's going to be a good one. Chris is a really, really smart guy, and I know he's been working on it for a while. He was showing me pictures of that frame months and months and months ago, which was really cool. It looks very similar, which is good. Oh, come on. What the hell's the spot? Oh, fuck it, whatever. It's fine. The only thing I don't like about nylock nuts is I don't have a driver for them yet. I gotta find a... I have a WIHA driver, or a WIHA driver for the M2, for M2 nuts, but I don't have one for these M5 nuts, which is kind of annoying, so I have to use these needle-nose pliers to get through the nylock. The most first world of problems there. Ah, shit! I forgot to plug the flight controller into the ESC. God damn it. Jackalope says, is it easy to install a Crossfire module on your controller? It is. You just push it into the back. Richard says, my subscreen shows that bot is scheduled today in 15 minutes. Okay, gotcha. So it looks like we're going to wrap this up in 10 minutes then. Metal Dirtson says, you use those Veloci motors on anything else? Are they good? Sorry if you've answered that earlier and I missed it. Yeah, I haven't run them on anything else, so I don't know if they're good or not, Metal. And I'm probably not going to fly this rig because I don't have an extra Crossfire Nano. But yeah, I mean, motors are good enough to the point where like you can pretty much just kind of buy them based on what we know about the sizes. So yeah, 2206.5 is going to give you a little bit less power than 2407 or 2207 rather. And it's not going to give you quite as much grunt and torque as a 2306. Now that they're into these 0.5 millimeters on these motors, I don't know, it's starting to piss me off. Like, I really don't think that we can tell the difference between 0.5 millimeter, realistically. But, you know, they're going to do what they got to do to sell motors. Oh my god, this is so excruciating. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's get this flight controller plugged into the ESC. And then the last thing we'll do, I think, is we'll see if we get 5 beeps. And see if Ciotti needs to tear this thing all the hell apart all over again. Which I'll do off the stream while cursing and swearing and crying. Alright, so we're plugged in there. The next thing I want to make sure of is that this cable's not going to foul on that DJI plug, and we've got tons of room. Oh yeah, plenty of room in there. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, that's pretty. That is pretty up in there. Yep. Good room. Nothing's touching. To see if things are touching, just kind of poke stuff around. Like, you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell if stuff is banging into one another. Just give it a little poke. Give it a little prod. And, yeah, you'll see. Okay, push that down there. Just to kind of get it out of the way. This little blue wire is trying to be a little jerk. That is wanting to pop up. Let me do this. I'm going to take the... I'm going to unspin this wire because it'll make it a little bit flatter. So I'm going to take one rotation out, 2 rotations. Well, there was only 2 rotations in it. So this is going to be a little bit uglier, a little bit more ugly, but it's going to give us a little more space in between the flight controller and the ESC. And it's going to make absolutely certain that the this bundle of wires isn't pushing up on the flight controller. So what we're going to do here is flatten this completely out, right? So that these cables are completely flat going in between these two. And then we're going to run it sideways and plug it into the flight controller like that. That's what you do when you slam your flight controller really tight against the ESC, which is not necessarily what I'm doing here. Like this, I'm not really putting them that tight against each other, but this is sort of just I would just rather have it like this for the person that gets it. God forbid they pull it apart and put it back together a little bit differently or anything weird like that. This is just going to be a better baseline. With the wires bundled up like that, they become a little bit thicker, and you got to be careful with that. So there we go. That's going to be a little bit better, and we can test that. Also want to make sure that, again, we put these flat here, and all right, good to go. So now we can test that by pushing it back down again. Oh yeah, see, now it's sitting a lot nicer on there. Cool. So yeah, that's it. Let's see if we get 5 beeps. Just balance this up here because it is like kind of live. Ooh, I'm also really hungry. I'm definitely going to cut this at 9 and I'm going to get some goddamn food. Alright, so we're going to take our ViFly V2, we're going to leave it on 1 amp. Blue light means 2 amps. No blue light means 1 amp. Here's the on-off button. Green means on. No green means off. We're going to plug it in while it's off. And then we're going to push the button to turn it on. Alright, pray for no explosions. 3, 2, 1. Damn you. Give me 2 more beeps. Come on. Give it. Alright, let's move it. Transformer just blew up outside. Let's move it to 2 amps and we'll try it again. So the flight controller is getting power, but it's not communicating. That could be a problem with... it could be a lot of different things, but my guess would be that that's BLHeli or RPM filter mismatch. The flight controller has RPM filters on it, but the flight controller has RPM filtering turned on, but the ESC does not have a version of the firmware that's compatible with it. So let's take a really quick look. We have another couple of minutes here. Beta flight coming up. Come on, beta flight. Oh, okay. Usually it auto selects that. Oh, there's no motor output protocol selected, so that's actually what's doing it. I still need to flash this thing and everything. Let's calibrate the accelerometer. That's fine. Okay, so I mean that explains it. This thing needs to be flashed. All right, cool. Oh yeah, look, this is full-blown disabled. Okay, let's go to DShot 600 because it is an F7. Save and reboot. And I think that should at least give us the second set of beeps for that sweet beta flight startup tone. Ready? Give it to me. Yeah! 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 Alright, boys and girls, that's how you build a quad. Now we just gotta bolt stuff down, stick stuff down. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, we'll finish it up tomorrow. Go watch Bot Grinder. Here's a link to the videos part of his channel. I'm gonna go make some food, and I don't know. God knows where the night will take me. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. This is my full-time job, and I do need everybody to help me out a little bit. If you head on over to CiottiFPV.com, there's a million ways that you can help me. The best thing that you can possibly do is click the very first button, which is to my Patreon, or you can just go to Patreon and search for CiottiFPV. It'll cost you $3 whole to get on there, but man, it means a lot to me. There's a lot of other tiers. If you want to do 5, 10, 20, there's some really fun giveaways that we do twice a month. The giveaway items are usually between $50 and $100, so a lot of folks have kind of gotten enough free stuff that they sort of do the Patreon thing for free. But yeah, help me out. Go to CiottiFPV.com, click a bunch of buttons, send those affiliate links to your friends and family. If you know people that do orders on Amazon and you send them my Amazon affiliate link, I'll get 1% of like every order that they do if they replace their Amazon bookmark with my affiliate link. Something that one of you guys suggested. Yeah. Fiverr store, let me work for you. Let me do some flight instruction with you. I want to help you fly better. All kinds of good stuff going on. Head on over, click some buttons. I'll love you forever. Be good. Here comes some more random flying from the stables. Hopefully I don't crash too quick. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
I'm just going to hang out.
Yeah. 605 grams or so all up weight. Let's get it.